and welcome to yet another exciting edition of your program, Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. I am your host, Murna Barnabas Atiahi. The Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000 gives the Commission the power to investigate and prosecute persons who use their offices to demand, receive, or confer unfair advantage or illegal benefits on themselves. This is contained in sections 8, 9, and 19 of the Act. Sexual favors have been found to be one of such benefits. Sexual harassment in the workplace and in schools is an abuse of office. It is therefore important that investigators and prosecutors handling petitions and matters on sexual harassment understand how these manifest and how to go about investigating and prosecuting petitions. On today's edition, we shall be looking at the recently held two-day capacity building workshop organized for investigators and prosecutors of ICPC on how to handle cases of sexual harassment in the workplace. Also, on our menu, we shall bring you anti-corruption stories with Ruth Awodi. Over to you, Ruth.
Thank you, Muna. Welcome to this segment on anti-corruption stories. I am Ruth Awodi. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has ordered the final forfeiture to the federal government of 120 million naira traced to a primary school teacher, Mrs. Roslyn Ebua, and her accomplices by ICPC. The forfeited money as well as cars form part of the 540 million naira proceeds of crime traced to Mrs. Egwa, a teacher with Ozala Primary School, Abagana, Anambra State. The teacher, who was on a monthly salary of 76,000 naira as at the time of her arrest in 2020 by ICPC, had 540 million naira stashed in her bank account with Guarantee Trust Bank. Further investigations by ICPC revealed her alleged complicity in money laundering, thereby prompting the Commission to place a post-no-debit PND on the account. However, the PND was lifted by Ibua and her accomplices with a court order from the Federal High Court, Abuja, and the money promptly split and moved into multiple bank accounts owned by Bureau de Change operators and private individuals. Counsel to ICPC Adesina Rahim, in a motion ex parte filed in 2021 before Justice D.U. Okorowo, alleged that the funds were proceeds of unlawful activities stashed away in 6 new generation banks by Ebua and her associates. He prayed the court to order the final forfeiture of the money and cars to the federal government. Justice Okorowo, after taking arguments from counsel to ICPC and the respondents, ruled that monies found in 7 individual bank accounts and that of 2 private companies and the items should be forfeited to the federal government. The forfeiture order includes 30.8 million naira in a Polaris bank account in Dorason Construction Limited, 17.4 million naira traced to a Sterling bank account of James Ereboye, and 16.4 million naira found in the Zenith bank account of Daibako and Sons Nigeria Limited. Another accomplice, Ojo Alonge, will also forfeit to the federal government 14.1 million naira traced to 2 separate accounts with First Bank and Ecobank respectively. Owoyemi Mayowa, on her part, forfeited 7.1 million naira held in a Zenith bank account. Furthermore, the final forfeiture order includes the sum of 8.2 million naira, 9.7 million naira, 6.5 million naira, and 122,000 naira kept in different bank accounts by Emon Okune, Chisom Iwueke, Maureen Chidima, and Ejiaka Ifoma, respectively. Other items forfeited by the respondents are a Toyota Lexus and Venza Sport utility vehicles. In another development, ICPC has said that the Commission will partner with the Open Government Partnership (OGP) to develop the Third National Action Plan (NAP). Speaking during a courtesy call by OGP, the ICPC chairman, Professor Bolaji Owasonye SAN, who was represented by board member Honorable Justice Adamu Bello, commended the team for recognizing the work of the Commission and for their support to the country. He further assured the team that the Commission will support the development of the Third National Action Plan.
And I'm glad to say, I'm delighted really, that yesterday I was watching the news with your interaction with the Secretary of the Government of the Federation, where what we have repeated it here, you rated Nigeria high, especially in the areas of budget processes and anti-corruption. So as an anti-corruption agency, I assure you the ICPC is doing all it can within its powers, within its mandate, to see that corruption is brought down in Nigeria to the barest minimum. That is an undertaking that we do as your stakeholders.
The OGP co-chair, Mr. Aidan Eyakuze, commended ICPC for her doggedness and commitment in the fight against corruption. He said that the OGP team was very proud of the agency for checking corruption and ensuring various measures are put in place to ensure a transparent government. The Open Government Partnership (OGP) is a multilateral initiative that aims to secure concrete commitments from national and subnational governments to promote open government, empower citizens, fight corruption, and harness new technologies and strengthen governance. That would be all on this segment. Corruption Must Go continues with Mona. Stay with us.
Fellow Nigerians, do you know that constituency projects are actually your projects? Do you know that constituency projects are funded by the federal government? Do you know that you can track release of constituency project funds for projects located in your constituency and follow up to know how they have been executed? Constituency projects happen because government does not want to leave any community out in development efforts. You have a responsibility to know what constituency project has been planned for your community, how much has been allocated for it, and whether value for money has been delivered. Take ownership of constituency projects located in your community. Protect them because they belong to you. Government knows about your needs and is planning for you. Government needs your help to ensure quality delivery. Know that constituency projects are actually your projects. Protect your constituency project. My constituency, my project.
For information on funds allocated to projects in your constituency, call 0800 2255 4272.
This message is from the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission and the National Orientation Agency.
If you're just tuning in, this is Corruption Must Go, and our focus is on a 2-day capacity building workshop for investigators and prosecutors of the Commission on how to handle cases involving sexual harassment. The training was in collaboration with the Ford Foundation and held at the ICPC headquarters, with officers in state offices joining virtually. In his welcome address, ICPC Chairman Professor Bolaji Owasonye, SAN, represented by an honorable member of the Commission, Dr. Grace Chinda, stated that the collaboration between the Commission and Ford Foundation on Sexual Harassment is dedicated to making positive change in the workspace and society at large. Let us hear from the Chairman of the Commission.
Now, the Commission has enjoyed the collaboration and partnership of Ford Foundation on Sexual Harassment for 2 years now. I am confident that this will continue, and in no far future, the citizenry and society at large will reap the reward of our hard work. Sections 8 and 19 of the ICPC Act allows the Commission to investigate and prosecute persons who use their offices to demand, obtain, or receive property or benefits from another person, or those who use their offices to gratify or confer corrupt or unfair advantages. Sexual favors have been found to be one of the topmost benefits in quotes unscrupulous elements in the society have conferred on themselves and others. To further strengthen our work in this field, the ICPC has created a full unit with requisite manpower, and it's expanding its capacity with regular training and retraining to build skills and consolidate experiences in sexual harassment and other and related matters.
Welcome back. Kicking off the presentations, two of the facilitators, Mr. Sadot Anjuma, an investigator, and Mrs. Peace Arocha, a legal practitioner, shared their views on best practices for successfully investigating and prosecuting sexual harassment cases. Take a listen on what they have to say.
Section 27 of the ICPC Act No. 5, 2000 has given officers of the Commission powers to investigate, report, and inquire into information. It therefore means that ICPC can invite and investigate any public officer for alleged corrupt practices and abuse of office, including sexual gratification. Furthermore, let's examine the investigative steps to be carried out when conducting a sexual harassment investigation. 1. We review the complaint of the report, that is, petition, be it formal or due diligence stage. Investigation strategy, which serves as a roadmap, and without it, can make the investigator to go off track. Review of relevant policies and procedures, interviewing of witnesses, if found, determine their credibility, because many of them are uncooperative due to stigma, threat to life, lack of trust, and confidence in the authorities. Culture of acceptance of some form of violence, etc. To assess the credibility of the witnesses in a conflicting situation by rationalizing their cooperation, their motive, past record, corroboration, plausibility, complicity, etc. We also recover evidence, forensic analysis, and preservation from phones, laptop, iPads, other forms of electronic gadgets and devices. We gather evidence from many of the following sources: the victim, the respondent, the crime scene, and finally, we protect the victim against threat to life, culture of silence, maintaining a high degree of confidentiality. Because in the UK, most victims of sexual harassment dies with no life evidence from the victim of such criminal enterprise.
Most times, the investigation reports, they outline all what they've investigated and they give their opinion. And they even recommend sections to charge them. The moment you read the investigation report, your mind aligns with that report. You are already subjective to their report. So to have that prosecutorial discretion and independence, it's advised that you read, first of all, the petition, which gives you the facts of the case, to know what the case is all about. Then you understand. After that, you can now read every other content, like the statement of the witnesses, what they have to say. As you are reading there, you are taking note of the witnesses you intend to rely on. The defendant, what is his defense? Is there a confessional statement? All these things you take into consideration. And then you read everything in the file, from the beginning to the end, no matter how bulky the file is. After doing this, then you can now go to the investigation report. At this point, you have already formed your own opinion, independent opinion. After reading the report, you might agree with them or you might not agree with them. There might be gray areas that need further investigation. After studying the case file, you check for all these things I've listed, whether a prima facie case has been established. What is a prima facie case? Has the investigation established facts before the court that will need to call the defendant to come and answer questions for the likelihood of committing the offense? Do you have available witnesses? Did the defendant explain himself out? What kind of defense does he have? Are your witnesses ready? What are the applicable laws? All those things to take into consideration in forming or in arriving at a legal opinion. If after studying the case file, you feel, and after going through all the evidence, that there is no case, then you write your legal opinion. Make sure that your legal opinion is detailed. Rely on authorities, rely on the investigation reports, the witnesses of the investigation, and why, give reasons why you cannot proceed or file a matter in court. If there is a prima facie case, then you are ready to go to court.
This is Corruption Must Go. Still on the workshop, Dr. Olanike Adelakun from the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team, in her presentation of a paper titled Case Management of Sexual Harassment and DSVRT Survivors, explained the process of dealing with cases of gender-based violence, the survivors, and how the barriers to disclosure prevent service access to survivors from the Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team.
In developing or in managing a case using a survivor center approach, you have to have the attitude that is actually survivor centered. And then you have to understand that, of course, we all have the right to live free of violence. And we all know our VAP law, right? Or our VAP Act stands as the legal framework for that. That every person, whether a male or a female, whether you're a child, an adult or an elderly person, you have a right to be free of violence. So that should be the bottom line. And then it is very important for us to understand that it is never the survivor's fault that whatever violence that occurs to that person occurs to them. And that is why I tried to make that point yesterday, that you should never attribute a person's dressing or appearance to justify the violence that that person has suffered. It is never the person's fault. It is difficult for women to speak up, not to talk of men, and not to talk of children. Why? Because our societies tend to stigmatize the survivor and not the perpetrator. So we have to understand that in adopting or in acquiring a survivor-centered attitude, you have to understand that you should not stigmatize, blame, or shame, or dehumanize the survivor in any way. After all, you're there to support this person to bounce back. Then you have to have this mindset. I know this is like coming from investigators and investigators now. It is not your business to doubt that person. That person has told you this thing happened. Believe it. Whether it actually happens or not, believe it. When they get to the prosecution stage, let them go and disprove it. Then if you are the first point of contact, do not raise any doubt. If somebody has come to you to say, this person did this, believe it at that point. That is one of the survival center attitudes we have to have. Then, do not force the person to disclose information. One thing we have to understand when dealing with survivors is all the facts, all the information you need may not come out at once. You have to understand this person is likely to be traumatized. So it's in stages. the first thing is to earn the trust of the person. There are some facts that you cannot get until that person chooses to trust you.
Also in his presentation of a paper titled Constitutional Rights and Remedies of Sexual Harassment Survivors, Mr. Ayodeji Awobi noted that sexual harassment is a violation of the fundamental human right of the victim and that there are adequate legal provisions in Nigeria that survivors can take benefit of. Take a listen.
We'll talk about enforcement of that right. So we've established that you have the rights. How do you go about enforcing the rights? Right? It's already established that sexual harassment is a violation of fundamental human rights. That's clear. It's a constitutional right that you have. You can go ahead and enforce it. Now, the proposal provides in 46 on how to enforce fundamental rights. Now, the lawyers here know that there is what you call the fundamental rights enforcement procedure rules that enables you to enforce a fundamental right. The good thing with FED rules is that it also enables you, if you don't want to come forward, you can enforce that right by proxy. So you don't come forward to enforce it, you can enforce the right by proxy. Somebody can file the evidence on your behalf, statement of the case, all the details can be put forward, and you can actually enforce that violation. Even the VAP Act allows you to give evidence in private, so that can also be done. You can be shielded and give your evidence in private without anybody being present. Now, the good news about it is that in Nigeria, people are taking the bold step of enforcing this right. And then luckily, you know that anything that has to do with labor, you have the NIC to go to. And if you've been to the NIC before, they don't joke around there with employment matters, particularly the employees. So I once told them that, I once told the judge that it looks like the court is skewed in favor of employees more than the employer. Because if you go there with a labor-related dispute, you can be sure that they would not mess around with it. The proceedings are generally very fast, very swift, and the judgments are generally very, very decisive.
You're still watching Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. Mrs. Olubumi Olugasa, the chairperson of the ICPC Sexual Harassment Response Team, talks to us on the steps taken in equipping the capacity of staff on sexual harassment.
Okay, like I mentioned earlier on, we have a threefold mandate. So we started with our in-house staff for us to first of all understand what exactly is the meaning of abuse of office, sexual corruption, so to speak. That's another term. Some other organizations call it sextortion. We had a series of trainings for our media personnel because they are the ones that go out into the field. They educate people, they sensitize them. What exactly amounts to sexual harassment? So if I understand what harassment is, if I understand that this person is using his office to demand favors and that this is punishable and it is something that can be investigated and prosecuted by the ICPC, it will help me to take an informed decision. So we trained our officers. Then we went a step further to partner with civil society organizations because this is a task that we just can't do alone. The work is enormous. So we have relationships with a number of civil society organizations. They are the ones that will be in the field and report to us so that we can investigate and prosecute if need be. Then of course, because it's a relatively novel area of the law in terms of our mandate, many citizens are not aware that they can actually approach the ICPC to seek redress. So we have a few investigations that are ongoing. We have one case that was concluded and some investigations are still ongoing. And at the end of the day, if there's a prima facie case established, of course, such perpetrators will be tried in the appropriate courts.
The workshop was interactive as participants who were physical and those who joined virtually from the state offices met several interventions and asked questions. The two-day capacity building workshop on sexual harassment is the 5th in the series, organized in collaboration with Ford Foundation. It is believed that as this collaboration continues, in no distant future, the citizenry and the society will be the final beneficiary. That's our package on today's edition. You can watch episodes of Corruption Must Go on YouTube and follow us on social media platforms showing on your screen. See you again next week. I am Murna Barnabas Atiai.